Good evening to everyone. Good evening. Today we are going to talk something about the economics of goat husbandry, especially in India is concerned as per the syllabus 7, and this is the ninth class what we are going to do. Then the goats are important livestock of India and also known as the poor man's cow and contributing to the great, especially to the economy of the country. And in view of this thing, they are the important animals with a respect to the Indian economy and also the farmers' income, etc. Then uh, the goat husbandry is becoming very, very popular nowadays, and we need to know how to prepare a project, especially on the goat husbandry is concerned. And these are all the creatures which can convert the one of the worst quality hay or fodder into the very good quality meat, and of course they can also yield the milk. In view of this thing, they become very important part of the Indian animal husbandry practices are concerned. So there is a difference between this make or kuri, and many people do not know the difference between a goat and a sheep, especially the goat and a sheep. The goats or make, they cannot walk too much. They can walk many distance, whereas the sheep cannot walk much. So whereas the goats, they can eat any type of the leaves and also sometimes the grass also, whereas the sheep are unable to eat the especially the leaves of the tree, but they like eating grass. So the goat like different type of the leaves and also different type of the tree leaves, etc. for eating, whereas the sheep do not have any such preference, even though there is no food or the scarcity of the food. So the goats do like more uh, tasty fodder, and they don't want the contaminated feed, whereas there is a lack in the sense of especially the taste, especially in case of the sheep, but they can eat even though the quality of the food or fodder is not proper. And the goats can digest the fiber content more efficiently than that of the sheep. Means the goats are more or good converters of the fiber content when compared to the sheep. And these goats do require more quantity of the food when compared to the sheep, and sheep can sustain with less quantity of the feed and water. Hence both of these animals have got their own advantages and disadvantages. So scientific calculations of the goats or the classification of the goats, they belonging to the family Bovidae, together with the, they can call belonging to the genus Capra. So the domestic goat, they are also called as the Capra hircus, evolved from the Besar goat, that is the Capra Igagrus, except for the Angora, then Kashmir and Damascus types which evolved from the Marco or Capra falconeri. So these goats domesticated like the Capra hircus now occur more or less globally. The same thing, and there are varieties. Wars are different, and there are different breeds of the goats among the goat species itself. So the Vezar goat or the Capra Agagrus found in the Near East Asia, then Ibex capra or Ibis Alps, Siberia and India, then Marker capra, then Falconi Center Asia, Spanish Ibex capra, they are present in the Spain, and many more type of the goats are present in different part of the world. Then the average certain anatomy and physiology of the goats is their body weight is about adult means more grown, and adult goats may weigh about 50.37 plus or minus 2.5 kg because of the proper nutrition, etc. Or else the adult female will weigh about 22.54 plus or minus 17 or 22 to 24 kgs in the range. Then the flock structure is about 60, ranging from 10 to 200, and they always like the flocking, and containing one adult male, 42 adult females, and 7 young males will be there. So the reproductive pattern of the goats is under farm conditions. The kidding percentage is 89.3%, especially. So the litter size, most of the time it is single, then it is 91.5%, then twinning percent is 8.5% only, very less. And the mortality rate in case of the goats is it is high in case of 0 to 3 month age group, it is up to 1.9%. Then 3 to 12 months especially, it is 4%. Then adult mortality is also 2.5% because of the different regions and different specifications, etc. Then the breeding, generally pure breeding, males are selected on size from within the flock. There is some introduction of Marwari and different breeds for the proper meat or milk production. Then the performance of these goats, average milk or the lactation yield is about 71.18 plus or minus 1.55 kg. Then this lactation length is 174.8 plus or minus 2.75 days. So these are all certain basic statistics of the goat husbandry is concerned. Then the flock size, and they are the monococcus animals. Then apart from this one, the goat farming is a form of animal husbandry that involves the raising up of the goats and breeding domestic goats, especially capra, pegagrus, or the hircus, for their meat, milk, fiber, and skin. All these things are there. Then also the hide of these goods is also valuable. So it's a sustainable production option for low quality grazing lands, and can be integrated with that of the other livestock farming such as sheep and cattle. So the goats can be reared with the other cattle, and goats are known for efficiently converting sub quality or low quality materials into quality or the quality meat, or sometimes the milk is also concerned. Hence, the goats makes always the sense, especially the goats are one of the better animals for the domestication of the human beings are concerned. And the goats also can uh, do, especially the goats also yield some quantity of the milk. Of course, it is always required for the kids. Then grazing materials need not be of very good quality, unlike the cattle, and can be raised in small areas of the pasture with limited resources also. So that's why it's called as the poor man's cow. And good domestication started about 10 millions year ago, along with the human race has generated. So different parts of the world, goat is raised for the meat purpose mainly. Then in certain parts, it's also for the milk, and sometimes the wool and also the leather. And goat farming is very very popular in most of the countries because goats require very low initial investment, fit the small holding of the farm, and they multiply very very fastly. That's why they can be grown. They are very popular in different part of the world, even with very low rainfall and also very low water resources. Then goat farming involves the raising up of the goats for the purpose of the meat, especially meat. But as a part of the animal husbandry, they also yield some milk when compared to the sheep. And goat is commonly known as the poor man's cow in India, and is very important occupation in dry land farming system. Because why it's called as a cow? Because it also yields the milk, a small quantity of the milk per day, apart from for its kids, but also to the human beings. Hence, a delicious milk is obtained, and the persons who cannot rear a cow can rear a goat and afford the price of the goat. Hence, it's called as the poor man's cow. And goat farming involves the raising up of the especially breeding up of the domestic goats as a branch of animal husbandry. And people from goats principally, they are meant for the meat, milk, fiber, and also the skins sometimes. And another important thing to remember in this lecture is 3% of the milk contribution is from the goats, whereas 49% is from the buffaloes, 24 is from the crossbred, and about 20% from the indigenous cows. And the remaining is from the sheep, this goat, etc. It's coming from the goat. India is having ranks first in the goat population. Goat population wise, it is first. 125.7 million goats are there in India. Then another important thing is the goat meat is consumed by most of the people, irrespective of the caste, then religion or cadre, etc. Because it is acceptable to all types of the people in the world. Then the advantages of the goat husbandry is they require very less space. Then many breeds are available as per the area specific breeds are also there. Then numerous utilities are also there, and easy to take care of these goods, and low feed requirement because they themselves can go and graze and convert the worst material into the best meat, and very fast growth when compared to the other animals. Then if a farmer sells the goat, then immediately he can get the money, and the price of the goods has never reduced. Then sudden inflation or any other thing is not there, and there is a very less cost on the feeding because they themselves can graze to a greater extent and walk adequately. Then they can tolerate the climate adaptability also. Extreme climates they can also adapt. Then there is lot of employment opportunity, and the rural India always it is on the goats population is concerned. Then there are a lot of goat breeds in India, and the some of the breeds are also imported from the other countries. And apart from this one, there are crossbreeding in between the goats. So coming to the different parts of the goats, you are seeing in the screen that the number one is the boyer goat, then another one is the Barbary goat, the Malwa goat, then Sirohi, a very popular breed with the patches on the body. Easily one can recognize these breeds. Anyway, we will let it now in different things. Then Telecheri goat with long neck, and also the black Bengal goat, as the name says, it is in very black in quality. Then Jamnapuri goat, also another popular goat breed, especially it is reared in Karnataka state. Then Osmanabari goat, then the Sanin goat, then beetle goat. So these are all the different varieties, very popular varieties for the commercial goat farming. And of course, apart from this one, there are lot of crossbreeds are also available in between these type of the goats. And we will see that some of the goats are also reared for milk and also meat for different parts of the India is concerned. Then the usually the goat farming should be located in area where assured market around the area is available and it is easily truly acceptable to the roadsides, etc. So that more and more profit can be gained. And the housing should be prepared from very low or it has to be converted on a raised platform. Always the goats will be reared in a raised platform 1 meter height from the ground level by using the bamboo or wooden poles or the pakka materials. So then the building should be of concrete pillars. Floor, side, and walls will be made of wooden material with very simple or cheaply available materials only to construct the goat farm for the better husbandry practices and also the better profit. So the roof need to be thatched with coconut leaves or grass or asbestos sheets or which is available very cheap at that particular area. Then average floor space per kid is 0.75 to 1 square feet, or you can think it of 1 square feet per kid, a small goal. And floor should have at least 1 centimeter space between the bamboo, or else their leg will be stuck. And wooden planks should be there to allow passage of the dung and urine down to the ground. And most of you have seen the goat shed. Then the feed and fodder cultivation should always be made sufficient. Fertile land, assured irrigation facility is necessary for successful fodder. This is very much important, and sometimes the owners do lack this thing and they suffer from the nutritional deprivation of the goats and ending up in death. And we need to provide the very good quality green fodder throughout the year. That is very must. So many times the farmers bring the goats without any infrastructures and suffer a lot from the mortality of the goats. And the land should be fertile with assured irrigation facilities throughout the year. Then the fodder crops should always be grown. Maybe the hybrid varieties of the grass, then green fodders, etc. Then the goat husbandry become more and more popular and also the cost effective. Then the water should always be made available to the goats throughout the year and clean, potable water is very much required. So the goats in a per day they require about 4 to 5 liters of the water and up to 10 liters per day when they are lactating because the milk is containing about 85 to 90% water and remaining is the solids. Hence, they require more water, especially in case of the summer months. Then, apart from this one, the honest economic and regular supply of the labor is also very much required. Without the proper labor, it is very difficult. And major problem in many livestock farms is recruitment and keeping up of an adequate supply of the qualified farm labor. It is the constraint, or else the investment may go into ruins. Then the veterinary aid should always be available, especially for breeding center facilities near the proposed goat farm. According to the breeding centers, male female ratios each should be 1 is to 20 males, 20 females, and 1 male. This is the standard uh, proposed breeding system 1 is to 20. Then market potential about more than 80% of the Indian population are of meat eaters. So 75% or 80%. So mutton is released upon the people more than the chicken or beef or the pork. Everybody like the mutton and even all the communities can eat the mutton. Hence, they have got a very potential market always, and the price fluctuation is also not very high. Then purchase power of the people is on the rise, and there is distinct shift in the consumption patterns. Non-veg now becoming almost essential part of the diet because of the very high protein requirement of the people. And availability of the mutton is less than that of the divide, hence always the good husbandry has got its own markets. So it requires the smaller investment and not risky business, because when compared to the animal husbandry, it is not risky because of the less disease pattern and also low feed consumption, low investment, etc. So the demand for the goat meat is increasing every year faster than the growth of the goat population. And goat plays a significant role in providing supplementary income livelihood to millions of resources, especially poor farmers and landless laborers in rural India, in and across the country. Then marketing, of course, this need to be looked into in a serious aspect. The marketable products of the goat farming includes the flattened kits, then manure, and the culled animals. These are all the marketing potentials. So what we can sell is number one, the fattened kits. So if there is a festival nearby, a meat eating festivals or celebration, then uh, making the estimate of that particular thing, the farmers usually purchase the fattened kits. Then goat manure has got its own value. Then the lastly the aged animals or the culled animals do have got their own value. So marketing avenues, especially the above products, are and are also from the slaughterhouses and individual meat customers and agricultural farms also. So the availability of either slaughtering facilities or traders who will purchase the live animals should be ensured to convert the fatness into the wholesome meat and meat products. So further, lot of demand is there for the manure. Thereby, the agriculture farms must also ensure the nearby agriculture farm, and there is a fixed price for this particular manure. Then, apart from this one needs to think about the export potential of the goat meat, then or the mutton. The scope of exports is too huge. However, for selling goat meat abroad, one has to adhere to very strict, that's called as the phytosanitary conditions and standards, especially of the hygiene, meat hygiene, etc. should obviously promote. The combined value of the Indians' total export is about 3.54 USD, or the 3.54 million dollars, especially the goat meat is concerned every year. Then this is the live goat export trends, a statistics from ICR. So from starting from 2009 to 2020, it is sometimes there is increasing and decreasing trend is there. So for example, if you see in the 2009, it was 15.95, then about in the 2015 it is 44.94, in the year 2017 it is 50.0616, then in the year 2018 it was very high, then 34%, whereas in 2020 it's suddenly decreased. You know the reason, the COVID-19 suddenly it has decreased. So now once again it has gained back to its original status is concerned. Hence, one need not worry about the market of the goats. Then, especially, we need to give lot of plenty and clean water, the good food and fresh grass accordingly to the daily requirement of a goat. So we need not much worry about the husbandry practices of the goats, as they sustain more temperature change, and also sometimes even with the water deprivation also they can survive. And never feed goats contaminated food or water as usual. and we need to take care of the pregnant doe, breeding bugs, and breeds, and feed the bug extra nutrients during the mating season for getting fattened for nourishment of the kids. And of course, there are a lot of feed and fodders are also available, whereas the homemade food can also be made from the available ingredients to the sheep and goat. So, which may include the maize, soya, or cotton seed, and many more things can be used. And there is already available ready to use food is there. And there are SWOTs are there, strengths, then opportunities or the weaknesses, then opportunities, then threats are also there to the goat husbandry is concerned. The strength of the goat husbandry is this section contains both strengths within the organization and external strength, such as client relationships. So, the weakness of this is the business, especially the fluctuating market, and also demand in certain season and sudden drop in the demand in some other season. So one need to enhance these areas. Then opportunities are also the very good marketing potential, then the business expansion, properties also there, then very well established uh, acceptance is there to the goat meat is concerned. Whereas the threats like the external factors beyond the control of the husbandry practices, especially some of the diseases, and sometimes the sudden mortality, sudden climate change, lack of the nutritious diet, and sometimes the highly contagious diseases like the blue tongue, then also some other enterotoxemia and other bacterial diseases. So the strength of these goats is very low labor requirement. Goat is a multifunctional animal and plays a significant role in economy and nutrition of the landless, small and marginal farmers in the country. Always it is rare. So, goat milk is very easy to digest, unlike the other milk, and very palatable also, except certain persons. Then goats create employment to the rural poor and very effectively utilizing the unpaid family labor, then goats true strong creatures in the earth and are able to resist various diseases. And goats generally love being with humans and they are extremely docile animals. So unlike the other animals, so they do not have the ferocious behavior like kicking etc. in the local breeds of the cattle, and they have got a very high fertility rate, achieving maturity with 5 to 6 months just. Then probability of there is a twin is up to the extent of 5 to 8%, and risk associated with drought is less in commercial goat farming compared to the other nomadic sheep breeds, goat breeds. Goat meat is great appeal to the public because of the health benefits it provides to its consumers and less cost. And another thing is it is extremely low in fat when compared to the pork and acceptable cholesterol and the calorie levels. So this is good for the people who have low energy diet scheme just like the diabetic patients can also be. Whereas there are certain weaknesses need to be listed. They are the large scale goat this rearing has not become popular till in India. Then also the very organized goat farming has not yet become a profitable venture in the country. Of course, now in the National Livestock Mission, then uh, Rashtriya Gokul Mission, etc., they are supporting the farmers or the other persons to a greater extent. But The water problem due to the low rain, climatic variations like famine, flood, very high lightning strike, and labor shortage is another constraint. And the high kid mortality due to the polybacilosis, sudden starvation, then extreme climatic conditions like the death of mother due to the parasitic infestations and as a result of the poor management. And it is very difficult to eradicate the tapeworm population from the goat flock is concerned, and this is also another constraint. So the opportunities, especially, it is very high, and ready market of the goat meat is there and confirmed over increasing market price. And one can start goat farming as a home based business as opportunity of the backyard goat farming is also possible, and very low capital investment is another added opportunity. But there are certain threats. Heat stress, as usual, can affect the digestion and rumen fermentation pattern of the goods when compared to the other species. And there is a drastic reduction in the growth of performance of the goods. So water problem may also exist due to the low rain, and there is it's also the labor oriented for getting the goats in a flock and taking them to a place where the leaves of the tree etc. are available. Always requires the labor. Then the goat population is increasing according to the government census, and in spite of the declining land, then as the human being has occupied majority of the grazing land, and especially the industrialization, then urbanization, then deforestation. All these are the threats to the goat husbandry. And because of this thing, now goat husbandry has become the stall-fed goat husbandry rather than the grazing goat husbandry practices are there. Just like the putting some concentrates in a particular trough, and every goat can have a access to that particular area. Then, apart from this one, the flocks can also be taken outside for grazing, just like the cattle or the buffaloes also. Then that particular time may be utilized for filling the stomach of these goats and will drastically reduce the feed cost, which is freely available outside without any human effort or the investment. And goats may stay very healthy if they get some quantity of the green grass, and they can also sustain on certain weeds if they are not toxic. Then coming to the some of the statistics, especially on the goats, then China is number one in goat husbandry, whereas the India has got the second number. And as per the statistics of 2019, in China there are 19.5 crores of the goats, 19.5 crores of the goats, whereas in our country the total number of the goats is 12.5 crores. Whereas the number of the goats in India is double to that of the sheep population. Then later we are going to have our own sheep husbandry or the cattle census, and we may know what is the exact strength in this year. So it has got the first place in 1.9 crores for West Bengal, whereas second place is Rajasthan, third place is the Uttar Pradesh, according to the census, cattle census, the 2019 or 12th cattle census or 2019 census. They are all very what you call as the different states like West Bengal, then Uttar Pradesh and Rajasthan. They share the first, third, and second places respectively. Some of the statistics may be important for you as the resource person. And what are all the goat varieties are very popular goat varieties are Barbary, Jamnapari, then the Black Bengal, Chirohi, then Mulbari, and these are all the very popular goat breeds like Barbary, what you are seeing, Jamnapari, Black Bengal, Shirohi, Mulberry, etc. But in Karnataka, total number of the goat is just 45 lakh. It is very less than that of the demand, which is double to this number. Whereas it is about the half of the population of sheep. Whereas the sheep population is more in Karnataka when compared to the other part of the country. Then Andhra Pradesh is having lot of demand for the goat meat, but there also increased goat husbandry is there, whereas the goats of the Karnataka state are going to Tamil Nadu, Maharashtra, and Kerala. Especially, they are sold in different seasons. Hence, there is no problem for the goat husbandry throughout Karnataka state as per the assured market is there, and also there is lot of demand and supply chain is always there. Then, what are all the goat breeds in our state is the number one, the Deccani, Usmanabadi, then few of the Shirohi, etc. are also there, and Beetle. But the weight of these goats for 2 years cannot cross 30 kg in spite of a very good feeding, then very good management, etc. So these goats of our own state are not so popular among the farmers. So whereas in North India, the very popular goat breeds are Beetle, Jamnapari, then Sirahi. Whereas in South India, Talacheri is one of the popular goat breed. And the some of the farmers also rear Boyer, Damascus, etc. Then sometimes the goat crossbreeds are also available, especially in the market. Hence, we need to produce a very good quality crossbred goats for the commercial purpose, especially for earning more and more money, especially from the rural India is concerned. Then the goat husbandry is classified into varieties of the stall fed, semi stall fed, and totally wandering type of the goats or the goat husbandry. There are varieties of the breeds, and let us go by few of the important breeds like Talacheri. Talacheri, as the name indicates, it is originated from Kerala, and also it was called as Malbari goats. So the udder of this goat was big, and in spite of this thing, it is a breed meant for the meat. So these goats do have white color, but sometimes the black and brown color is also same. And this is the Talacheri goat, a very white or milky white goat with very active eyes and also sometimes uh, yielding good milk also. Hence, these type of the goats are being popular, especially in Tamil Nadu and the Kerala. Then the weight of these goats very rarely may grow up to 100 kg, but not a common thing. Whereas the yield of the meat from a goat is about 60% dressing percentage. Whereas the meat of the goat is pink in color, just like the rose pink. Then it is very tasty in color and very smooth and palatable. So, whereas the other breeds of the goat meat, they are reduced in size, whereas the Talacheri goat meat is going to expand. Then Talacheri is also got its own disease resistant flower, then adaptable to different environments. Then in every parturition, it will give two kids, or sometimes three to four kids also, kidding also will be there. Hence it is very, very profitable. At the same time, the ear of this goat is about 2 to 4 inch, then the female goat is about 45 to 50 kilogram, and sometimes the male average weight is about 70 to 75 kilogram, the goats will have. Then another breed which is very popular throughout the India and also in Karnataka state is Sirohi. So you can see the picture of Sirohi with the different type of the color brands. It is its color is brown, or sometimes the chocolate brown, or it is very attractive goat, and this doesn't yield any milk yield, and the uh, growth of this goat is also very fast, and the average weight of this goat is about 70 to 80 kgs, unlike the Talacheri. So, and you can see that this goat is very, very sturdy, and sometimes if a farmers do have a lot of interest in good husbandry, then do a selective breeding, then we can also get 100 to 120 kg, about 1 quintal. Then the taste of the meat of this goat is also very good, but only one kidding will be there. The twinning, etc., are very rare in this Shirohi type of the goats. Very rarely it can give two offsprings at a time. The milk yield and the milking duration is more, and hence once it has kid, then it will not come to the heat about 5 to 6 months. This is some of disadvantages. Then this goat variety has got the capacity of kidding in 3 times in 2 years. So what we can say is one kid per 1 year. That's what it is the nature of the Shirohi goats. Shirohi is also adaptable to different climatic conditions and also extreme weather conditions, and sometimes the water deprivation syndrome also they can sustain. And the another variety is Jamnapari goats. So these Jamnapari goats can be very similar to that of our Malnad cattle or the cow, and they are very beautiful to look also. But they also yield 2 to 2.5 liter of the milk. That's the one of the greatest advantage of these Jamnapari goats. Then they come to the easters once kidded after 5 to 6 months, and compared to the other goat varieties. Then it has got a very attractive Roman nose. Then the long ears, here you can see the long ears, very attractive posture. Then the wattle is also there. Then there is a disadvantage of the long hair, especially ear, because it is going to close the eyes of this goat, and sometimes because of the Roman nose, which is like this, the nose is very sharp, and hence they cannot eat the grass very close to the ground. That's why this is one of the disadvantage of these goats. Whereas these goats, Jamnapari, they can also be reared in the confined system, and only once one kid will be there, and sometimes rarely two kids. And the body weight of these goats is sometimes 100 to 120 kgs, and the 90 to 100 kg is a very common thing, provided the nutrition quality should be very, very high. And sometimes, because of the heavy weight, sometimes it is very difficult to sell because the farmer wants a about 20 or 30 kg, then this is beyond his affordable capacity of the finance. Then the meat of this goat is also little, what do you call as, the fibrinous in nature. Then some people do not like the texture of this meat, especially in some part. When the body size and growth, according to the body size and growth, they require different type of the feed and feeding material. Jamnapari is one of the most fancy breed in Karnataka state, and also it is being adapted to different type of the, or including the different climatic changes. So in some farms, only the crossbred goats, uh, especially, they are reared for the fancy purpose. Then boyer is one of the very attractive goat, but very small goat. Especially many of the veterinarians have seen this goat, and this is very calm and quiet goat. And it is one of the most famous throughout the world for the best meat quality. And sometimes, if a proper feeding is done, it is going to weigh about the 100 to 120 kg maximum. But the pure boyer goats cannot adapt to different changing atmospheres. So the number of the goats, the boyer goods are less nowadays, and it can be crossed with that of the other goods for different varieties. Then the pure uh, goat of the boyer, the cost is about 30 to 35,000 because of the very good quality meat of this particular goat is concerned. Then which goat is suitable for the farm condition is, especially in Karnataka state, or sometimes the Talacheri and Shirohi are the two important goats suggested, especially in case of Karnataka state. Hence, apart from this one, the crossbreeding can also be done from Jamnapari, Boyer, etc. But even with low number also, this can be rare. Talacheri female goat or buck, and Shirohi Jamnapari Boyer male can be crossed to get the crossbreeds. So similarly, the Shirohi female and the breeds of the males from the other breeds can also be got, or the reverse breeding can also be done, and a different type of the goat varieties can be generated. Then, apart from this one, usually the male and female, they will they become adult in about 6 to 8 months, but after 12 months only they need to be allowed for crossing. Then we should select a very healthy, then especially as per the body weight, the consistent body weight, etc. We should select the males and females for breeding purpose. Then one always should give the concentrated feed every day, about 350 grams, especially the growing goats. They require very high quantity of the proteinaceous diet. Then one should not make them to cross during the very high or very high temperature, especially in the summer, because there is a chance that these goats may get abort. Then it's a very common problem. But in certain breeds the goats after kidding, just it may come to the estrus after 18 days itself. But in the first estrus, one should not leave them for crossing with the male. Whereas in the next estrus, they can be crossed with that of the male. Then artificial insemination is also one of the breeding technique that is just introduced in our country, but need to be more uh, popularized because the cost involved in the artificial insemination is a little high when compared to the natural uh, or the handmade. Hence, because of this thing, the goat varieties we need to select very carefully, especially the goat varieties need to be selected in a proper manner. Then the goat with the proper estrus will select the male as its own. Then in very big form, every week the male has to be changed for crossing to avoid the inbreeding. Repeated inbreeding is always problem in case of goat husbandry. Then regularly kidding goat or the buck should be kept for maximum 5 to 6 years. Later, it has to be changed. But the male need to be changed every year, or else inbreeding problem will always be there. Then the health problems will be there. Then uh, the organized sector farms are there. They always bring the pure breeds. Then they sell the uh, pure breeds of the goats to the farmers and also to the consumers. Then the Talacheri and Sirohi are very commonly used breeds in Karnataka state. Then they can uh, be sold at the rate of 250 to 450 per kg in and also available for breeding. And Jamnapari and Boyer are the new types of the breeds, but they are more costly. And Jamnapari and Boyers are having a big or the larger breeds, then we need the breeding males also with higher or more weight. Then the goats should weigh about 40 to 45 kilogram, or else sometimes there is a problem of dystocia. Then Talacheri and Sirohi, the kids when they born they will be weighing about 2 to 3 kg, whereas the boyer goats about 4 kg, and Jamnapari it is 5 kg will be there, the kids. The duration of the pregnancy or gestation duration is about 145 to 150 days. 145 to 150 days. Then, apart from this one, the goats can also yield the good milk. Then also, they may be used for sharing the wool with an additional income from the meat always there. So they are multi-purpose animals. Whereas the cattle cannot be used for the wool and they cannot be used for the meat. Whereas the goats can be used for almost all the purposes. Then there are varieties of the system like the free ranging grazing, stop feeding, then hand feeding, etc. Because the goats are voracious browsers, and so it is we need to provide them the leaves, etc. Then we need to have the green fodder, especially we need to have the sorghum, then maize, ragi, etc. Whereas the dicotyledons like Styloxanthus, Lucerne, and also the Bengal gram, etc. Then they also require the green grass, maybe variety of the grasses are always available as the hybrid napier, para or guinea grass. Instead of rearing a monoculture grass, we need to rear or grow the multiple type of the grasses, because if one variety vanishes, it can be supplemented with the other varieties. Then apart from this one, the leaves of the different plants are also the good feed. Then of course they require the leaves and also the fresh green fodder. Then why we rear sheep with goats? There is one question. Can it be grown with sheep and goat? It is there always. Raising the goat and sheep together is quite common in India, and they are both small ruminant of almost equal size and are the members of the Boidae family and caprine subfamily. So they are compatible with each other. There is no problem of the fighting in between, etc. So they can both be raised for the purpose of producing the milk, meat, wool, or cleaning brush fields of the vegetation also they can be used. They are very small creatures of the earth, very docile in nature, and they are not going to harm to the humankind is concerned. And the domestication of the goats is becoming very, very popular in India. Then some of the techno-economic parameters are the breed of the goat should be or boyer, especially for the meat purpose breed. Then semi-intensive system of rearing is many times it is recommended. Then number of bucks should be 5, number of does should be 95. 95 to 5. Suppose the farmer wants to have a unit of 100 goats, then the 5 goats should be bucks and 95 should be does. The age of maturity is 10 to 12 months. Then kidding interval is about 8 months. Number of kidding per year always it ranges from 1 to 2 per year. Kidding percent in year is about 90%. Then sex ratio is always maintained as 1 is to 1 and a balancing pattern. Then mortality of the kids is also very high. Nowadays, range it is going to be ranged up to 15%, and suitable age of the goats for the breeding kids is 11 months. Then financial aspects of the goat husbandry is suppose, for example, everybody should know how to prepare a financial or the financial projects of the goat husbandry, like purchase of 100 boyer goods at the rate of 11,000 per buck, whereas the 14,000 per doe. It is costing about the 55,000, then plus 13 lakh 30,000, then the total is 13 lakhs 85,000 rupees. So suppose the construction of the goat shed and fencing at the rate of 3 rupees per square feet, and the shed construction 13 rupees with very simple available materials, then its square feet it is about 24,500 for 100 goats. Then purchase of the feeding and milking and other equipment, it's a one-time investment and non-recurring expenditure. Then land required, if it is 1,000 square feet, if it is there, then it will be a very optimum land required. So total capital investment from a person is about 18 lakh 59,500 rupees. You can take it up to the like that 19 lakhs rupees is required to have the goods to the extent of 100 goods. Then the next parameter is the working costs. Here the feeding cost is especially it is 2 to 3 kg of the fodder is required, that is the dry fodder, and 0.5 kg of the especially the 0.5 kg of the concentrate or 350 to 500 gram concentrate is required every day. This is the number which is for the optimum nutritional quality is required. Then total daily feed cost for 100 goats is about 4,000 rupees, and cost of the concentrates at the rate of 20 rupees per kg. Cost of the fodder is rupees, both of them are saying 20 rupees per kg, and monthly feeding cost of the goats is 1 lakh 20,000 per month. Then the veterinary costs for routine checkup and also the vaccination, deworming, etc. About the routine things, about 20,000 per month for 100 goat. So, the treatment cost for sick and injured goods is depending upon the medicines, then also the distance need to be covered by the veterinarians, etc. So it changes. But the expenditure norms, number of labors for 100 goods, it is 2. Then labor wages, yes, 10,000 rupees approximate labor wages should be due. Then electricity cost is about 6,500. Then insurance of the goods, 100 goods, then it's about 18,000 rupees. Then other contingency expenses like purchasing of some of the equipment, then acaricides, etc. It is costing about 10,000 rupees. So the total working cost per month, working cost itself is the per month 1,84,500 rupees. Whereas the total working cost per year, if you multiply it into 12, then it is 22 lakhs 14,000 rupees. And let us see the products and selling costs. Average milk production per dog per day is 3 liters. Average milk production of the lactating per day is about 180 liters. Then average monthly milk production of the lactating doe is rupees 40 per liter, especially the selling price. Monthly revenue from the milk sales is 2 lakh 16,000 rupees, whereas 1 year revenue from the milk is just milk sale is 25 lakh 92,000 rupees. Just sale of the milk at the rate of 40 per rupee. Sometimes it may be less also, but many people are crazy enough and they can purchase the goat meat. Then production, especially sale price of the male goat or the bucking is 4,000 rupees per goat or the buck. Then sale price of the female goat is 500 rupees less, as the weight is also less. Whereas 85 male goat selling revenue, if you sell all the 85 goats, it is about 3 lakh 40,000 rupees per the total goods, and about 50 female goods selling revenue after 1 year we will get it 1,75,500 at the rate of 11 to 12,000 rupees. Total revenue per year from this type of the other miscellaneous business is 5 lakh 15,500. So sometimes we need to add the commercial cattle feed gunny bags to the extent of 500 rupees. Let us keep it as the low level itself, because ultimately we need to get the international workshop. The NABARD has also got some schemes, and apart from this one, the National Livestock Mission. Also, there is a subsidy for goat husbandry, and also the multiple goods should be read as per the Government of India guidelines. Then the sell price of the goat buck 4,000 rupees. Then all this amounting to The capital cost 18 lakh 59,500. Total working cost or recurring cost, what we can say, is 22 lakh 14,000 rupees. Then total cost is about 40 lakh rupees 73,500. Whereas the government subsidy is 30%, especially sometimes it is increasing up to 50% also, the National Livestock Mission, etc. But only after establishment of the goat farm. That the financial cost is 28 lakhs 51,000 and 450 rupees. Whereas let us calculate total selling cost, milk production 25 lakh or approximately 26 lakhs. Selling cost of the kits 5 lakh 15,000. Total gunny bags, total sale is about 14,000 rupees. Then total selling price of everything is 31 lakh 13,000 and 500. Then gross profit for the first year is total selling per year is 31 lakh 1335 Financial final cost will be 28 lakh 21,450. So gross profit of the goat husbandry per year is about 2 lakh 62,000 and 50 rupees. And if you divide it by this by 12, then you can get the monthly income from this goat husbandry. Then summary of the project is all aspect of the project as project capacity, cost of the project, and also the project and means of the financing, availability of utilities, etc. has been deeply studied, especially all these parameters are studied, and it is recommended that goat husbandry should be an ideal business model to the Indian farmers are concerned. Hence, let us rear goods and become rich. And thank you very much for watching for such a long time, about almost all due to the